Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm AmandaMuse, and today we're going to be reacting to a video about things you shouldn't do in Malaysia. I've really been enjoying these reaction videos with you guys. If you're new and you want to see my other ones, they're just up here in the eye in a playlist, also some links below. But it's been fun to go down memory lane, talk about Malaysia, speak about my love about Malaysia. I did live there from 2010 until 2014, and so honestly, it is like such a joy to go back and revisit some of the beautiful things about Malaysia. And it's so fun to have you guys to do this with because honestly, I took a bit of a hiatus speaking about my time overseas because I just wondered, would anybody care? Is this even interesting to anyone? Honestly, I couldn't have been more wrong, and I've been having such a wonderful time creating this content for you guys. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this video, which appears to be two people who either live in Malaysia or did some traveling through Malaysia and some of the things that they learned and experienced there. And I'm curious to see if there's things that I remember, if there's things that I'm not agreeing with, or, wholeheartedly agree with them on. So we're going to check that out. Okay, let's do the thing here, people.
Malaysia has quickly become one of the hottest travel destinations in all of Southeast Asia.
So if you have a plan on visiting Malaysia, there are of course some certain things that you must not do there in Malaysia.
Okay.
So the first thing, this is real experience for me, myself personally. So we love going to one restaurant, and that restaurant is basically run by the owner who is the Muslim. One fact about Malaysia is that majority of the population here predominantly are Muslim. So there's some certain thing that you can't do. After getting to know him for a while, we went back for the second time, and I greeted him by offering him the handshake. And
as a female, you do not shake the hands of a male Muslim.
you are not supposed to have the physical touch.
Interesting. I'm trying to think if I had any handshakes with Muslim men in Malaysia. Honestly, I was really busy carrying babies around, either in my belly, on my hip, on my back. I do feel though, like when I remember my interactions, there was definitely a sense that I was other. So, I don't think I have an imposing presence, but, I am 5'8". So that's obviously, you can't tell that from the video. So I'm a tall woman, and I found that it was a little bit like, oh, it's a big lady. I'm not big, but you know what I mean, like a tall woman. So I think sometimes there was that. And so there was definitely a barrier. I also must admit that I'm not the most physical touch kind of person. I will shake your hand when it's appropriate, but I'm not big into like the hugging and all of that. I like to have some boundaries. Perhaps the reason I'm not remembering this so well is just because I very much take cues from other people when I'm in social situations. So if a hand is reached out, I will shake said hand. If you go in for the hug, I'll hug you back. So I just kind of went with the flow, and handshaking wasn't a big deal for me. So very curious indeed.
Always remove your shoes when entering a Malaysian home, sometimes even a business or place of office. But most places when you go, if it's a place of worship like a mosque,
That must be real culture shock for people who are from America or from Europe, because you guys
we
wear
wear
the
our shoes everywhere. Inside the house, we really don't ever take the shoes off.
Yeah, but
Want to add some more to that. So in my apartment, if I can find a clip, I will share it. So where we lived, you would come into your apartment and there was a gated area, almost like a front porch. Air could circulate through, but you could keep things inside this little gated area, and there was a lock. And then you got to the front door. So most of the time we kept the shoes outside in the front, and then, let's be honest, I had a lot of sandals at the time. When you come in the house, then there would be some extra space for shoes. But also, most of the homes in Southeast Asia that I went into, carpet wasn't like we have here. We do not do carpeted flooring. So if you guys are from Malaysia and you watch my videos, it must be a strange thing to see carpet on the floor. But it gets cold, so we like to have our toesies warm in the winter. But it's often like a carpet, you know, that you would place in an area, but mostly it's tiled flooring, and that tile is sparkly. Like you mop your floors at least once a week, if not every day, and every house has these giant tiles in it. So that is so true. But that was definitely an adjustment. And even now, when I see Dean wearing his shoes in the house, I'm just like, what are you doing? What's on the bottom of your feet? I always notice it. Like if we have a technician or somebody come to the house, Dean will always say, it's okay, leave your shoes on. And I always say, no, it's good, take them off. Like, are you kidding me? You're walking around with these disgusting shoes on the street, in the dirt. Who knows what you've stepped in? And you're gonna bring that in my home?
You will see the sign like this in public, especially a lot in Kuala Lumpur. So basically, as I said earlier, Malaysia predominantly Muslim country. One thing about that is that they don't really show the affection, no PDA. Since we have been traveling there, I have never seen anybody hugging in the public.
Hugging, kissing, save it for when you get home.
That's a very valid point. In fact, I found that even, and they may get to this later in the video, but even how I wore my clothing, you know, my body is a very curvy type of body, and being that I am Western and a foreigner, I was very aware of the fact that I didn't want to dress inappropriately. So if you go back and you see some of those videos, you know, I wear a lot of shirts that are appropriate. Nothing, as you would say, too sexy. And I guess occasionally I would, and let me tell you, there would be some stares and some comments because again, you know, I'm different and I'm different walking around, so I already gather attention that way. I made it a point to dress more modestly when I lived there. And, you know, now that I'm back in Canada, I just wear what I want. I'm a little older. I don't know. I just kind of do what I want. But I was very aware of that while I was living there, for sure. Also, I'm not much into like public displays of affection. When it's like 38 degrees outside, the last thing I want you to do is be hugging me. You stay over there. I stay over here. Everything is sweaty. We're good.
Most of the restaurants and people in Malaysia can actually speak a good amount of English. Their conversational skills are very well. We didn't really have any trouble with the language while we were traveling throughout all of Malaysia. And actually, at one point in time, they were under British rule, and they still have a lot of influence with the English language.
Next thing is very essential.
Very true. I get asked all the time if I speak Malay, and I wish I did, but honestly, the level of English was amazing, even just passing by. Like I've traveled to other places, I've been to Taiwan, and that was hard. Like I mean, that's a story for another day, but I remember being in a movie theater in Taiwan, in Taipei, by myself, because my husband, go figure, was in New York, and I wanted to see this one movie, and I was like, this is before you could have like Google Translate on your phone. I was trying to describe the movie I wanted to see, and finally this woman came up who also spoke English and helped me out, and I was like sweating. I was so grateful. That was tricky. You know, when I went into restaurants, I had to find the picture and say I wanted this. We couldn't. It was very Malaysia. No. I mean, even if there's only signs in Malay spoken, people can get by, and it's incredible. So that was actually kind of a disappointment. I wish I had picked up some Malay. I'll just have to move back and learn again.
When you travel around in Malaysia, don't forget to bring a small, compact umbrella. Even though the weather forecast say today it's not going to be raining, but eventually it's raining. So basically it's more like raining.
Especially if it's the rainy season. You have never, ever seen a rainstorm like you have seen in Malaysia. Occasionally, we will have a downpour where you can hardly see and you gotta pull your car over, and a part of you gets kind of nostalgic because it's legit. To try to explain to someone who's never experienced monsoon season in Malaysia, just imagine it raining so much that the streets are flooding. And you honestly kind of question if your car is gonna go off the road. That is how much rain falls from the sky. It's wild. I felt a little panicked the first time. I was driving in a taxi with my husband, with our driver, Kamal, and we were going somewhere into Georgetown, and it was raining so much. First of all, so many people drive motorbikes, so there's, anytime there's like an overpass, people will come off the road, get their rain gear on, either keep going or wait till the rain kind of subsides, because it doesn't rain heavy like that for a very long time. It's like these short bursts. And then it gets super humid, and then you go about your day. But I remember being in the car and looking at Dean and starting to get a little anxious because I thought, this car is not very big. Cars are smaller in Southeast Asia than we have out here in the West. And I thought, am I gonna make it to the mall? Like, what's happening here? Really overwhelming. And now I kind of miss that because it was so beautiful and it makes everything so green. Gorgeous.
Most times while you're in Southeast Asia, you see a lot of partying, and in Malaysia, it's not as common. Don't expect to be able to drink alcohol everywhere you go. Like when you go out to get dinner, or you go out with friends, or you go to the night market.
Because it's a Muslim country.
People drinking everywhere. Alcohol is very scarce. You don't really see it as much unless you go to a specific alcohol store.
Yeah, so basically if you...
It's a more conservative country, and can I just tell you, I very much appreciate that. I went to another country, and I don't want to speak ill of other places, but my time in Bali, I mean, there were parts that were beautiful, but I've often said I never want to go back there because I got so sick. But also, here I was expecting to visit a place that was, have some tranquil moments, experience what it is, that culture, and all I was bombarded with was everybody in their bintang tank tops, drunk, and partying. And honestly, that's not my vibe. Not at all. I enjoy a beverage. I do drink alcohol, but I'm responsible most of the time. And I enjoy experiencing places for what they are. And also, I don't think that every place needs to be westernized. You feel me? Like, I enjoy that there wasn't like public drunkenness and there was some order, and I appreciated that. It's not a resort country. To say that, like, if that's your intent, stick to other places. Like, when you hear about like moon parties on the beach in Thailand and all that. I mean, I've never been to one, but fun, I guess. Not my type of travel, though. Not gonna lie.
But don't expect to get pork in Malaysia. So basically when we go to the restaurant, most of the time we've been doing...
Not true. I lived in Malaysia, so yes, I could buy pork. Done very differently, though. So actually, this took me a moment to remind myself how to do it, and I'm very considerate of this to this day. So when you go into a Malaysian supermarket, there is all of the things, the chicken, whatever you need to buy. Then you have to go into the kosher section. Is it called kosher? Is that the right word I'm looking for? Halal. Non-halal. Oh, I'm forgetting all the words. I'm going to put the word down here so that I get it right. Sorry about that. But you go into a special section. It's got a sliding door, and in there you can find the pork, the bacon, the back bacon, all the things you want, and you pay for it separately at that cash with a non-Muslim person because Muslim people do not eat pork. They also don't even want to touch it. Cool. So you would pay for it in the separate area. And now to this day, when I'm at a cash register and I see a visibly Muslim woman wearing her hijab, I often will just hold the item and say, do you want to just scan it? And I'll hold it for you. And most of the time I met with, a little bit of shock because they don't see that often. But I just think it's a sign of respect. And again, I think it's safe to say, if you've probably known me some time now, is that I am very respectful of a country, and I don't think a country needs to adapt to me. I am quite capable to adapt to a country and their culture. So I don't think every country operates that way. Reminder, I'm from Canada, so we do things a little different, but I enjoy that. I don't see why a place needs to be so accommodating to me. I can figure it out. I can adapt. I can buy pork in a certain area,
I can't even barely see
Beef. For me, from a Western world, most of the things you eat is steak, hamburgers, things like that. Things that are revolved around beef. But beef isn't really that common in Malaysia.
unless you know where to look. So we had a shop we would go to that imported all of their beef and their lamb from Australia. It was fabulous. It was so good. But again, we were not just traveling there, we were living there. And so you get to know the places to go and where to find things. But it's true. And that's likely why I said in one of my last videos that you have never tasted chicken as good as in Malaysia. It's like the best chicken I've ever had in my life.
Do not point at things with your forefinger. This is a custom that Malaysian people follow.
So we notice this especially when we go traveling around and then we need to ask the direction from
Normally
the
I'm like, do I go over there or do I go over there?
I never seen
Then point like
yeah,
this.
then point. I normally see them do like this, or just this. Next thing is
I'm not sure about that actually. Different hand gestures for sure. There was a lot of this, like this, just this gesture. I don't know. That happened a lot. A lot of people wanted to touch my baby's faces for sure, because I think it's just very interesting to see something that is different. So they liked, especially Jack. He was like a baby Snow White, like such a fair baby. It's such a chubby baby. Oh my God. So everybody loved to try to pinch their cheeks. And at first I felt a little bit like, oh, don't touch him. It's my baby. I don't know you. Where have your hands been? And then I just got over it because they love babies. I got off track. I don't know why I'm talking about babies when they're talking about pointing fingers, but who cares? Let's move on.
durian. It's when become something like a social norm nowadays.
Have you ever seen the durian challenge? There's like so many videos about that.
So in Malaysia, it's even prohibited to bring durian in the public area.
You actually see signs of this in Thailand as well. That's because of the smell of durian. Durian has a very, very strong odor. Now I know why they don't allow it in buses and airports. It stinks.
It's not stink, it's good.
Oh, it smells like somebody farted in here. Taste the...
See? I can't. That smell, I'm even going like this. It's not even in here. I just can't. I think based on comments, based on what I know about durian, you are either like love, love, love it, or you don't. There's like no in between. Stinky, stinky fruit. Whew.
But it does have a very strong odor.
It's really tempting when we were there because the price of durian actually goes down a lot due to their high supply in durian. So the price is so cheap that it's cheaper than Thailand.
That was a really cute video. I thought they were accurate on so many of the points. A few I didn't really like, the finger one. I don't remember that. But I just think hand gestures are definitely a cultural thing, the way we maneuver our bodies, you know. It's different in many places. Like where I grew up in Quebec, in Montreal, you do like the double when you meet people. But here you don't, you just do the one. Anyway, so things change. There's those slight differences in places. I think the one thing I would add is if you are in a market or something that isn't like a traditional store, never pay full price. What's the word that you say, teguela? Teguela. Doesn't that mean like it's too high, too expensive? Like you always should barter. Never pay full price. Because sometimes, I don't want to say this happens all the time, but sometimes the price changes based on how a person looks. You catch my drift? So it's important to negotiate. Fairly, of course, but it kind of makes it fun. I used to really enjoy that about going to the night market and trying to find fun things, and it was like a little bit of a game where you got to negotiate and you play this dance, and then you, oh no, too expensive, you walk away, and then you come back. It's really fun, honestly. So much fun. I thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe, stick around. I've been putting out at least one video a week about Malaysia amongst the 4 that I create. If you would like me to react to any other videos, please link them below. I'd be happy to do so. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy this video here where I react to the video Kuala Lumpur, you're doing great. It was a beautiful video. The drone footage, top notch. And the video down here is my latest vlog. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.